Hello, everyone out there in Zoom land, and hello to my beautiful, aren't they gorgeous, my panelists. We all did our makeup just for you guys today. It was special. So thank you to everyone for joining us this afternoon. First of all, I want to say I'm just grateful that all of you are happy and well and healthy, and that you're in your home now joining us for this amazing call. We have an incredible panel of superwomen that we're going to be getting to know today and chatting with. And before we do that, just a little reminder to click on the Q&A link below and ask away. Shoot us questions, because during the second half of this webinar, we're going to be picking some of them out to actually answer. So without further ado, I would like to first introduce you to our panelists. I'm going to start with Rachel Lindsay. Rachel is an attorney, media personality, guest host, speaker, and podcaster. She currently is the host of MTV's Ghosted, Love Gone Missing, I love it, host of ESPN Radio's Game Night, host of Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, and a special correspondent for Extra TV. She's like the famous one. She is best known for her role as the first African-American lead in the franchise's history on the 13th season of ABC's The Bachelorette, and as a contestant on the 21st season of ABC's The Bachelor. So Rachel, we're so excited to have you here. Seriously, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You look gorgeous, by the way. And then Heather Mcintyre is the global head of public relations and communications for Burger King and Popeyes restaurants. She is a proven leader in the consumer space who advocates for integrated, forward-thinking approaches to building brand reputations. A very smart cookie, and I'm so happy that I'm meeting you here. Previously, she led public relations and influencer program for Baskin-Robbins at Dunkin' Brands, with a focus on ensuring stakeholder engagement and media penetration aligning with the overall brand vision. Heather was named one of PR Week's most influential women in PR of 2019. So how lucky are we to have you here?
Thank you.
My pleasure. And then we have Dara Busch. Dara, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
She is the president of 5W Public Relations. And as the president of 5W Public Relations, Dara oversees their consumer practice, which includes travel and entertainment, apparel and accessories, all of my favorite things so far, nonprofits, home and housewares, like that too. A lot, Dara. Health and wellness, mom and baby, beauty and grooming, and consumer packaged goods. Under her leadership, the team runs award-winning campaigns for clients like the WNBA, It's a 10 Hair Care, Sparkling Ice, Zappos, Jane Iredale, love her, Bullmore, Welch's Fruit Snacks, the kids love those, Ashley Stewart, among dozens of others. With 20 plus years of public relations experience, Dara is a seasoned practitioner in consumer brand publicity, as well as developing successful strategic media campaigns around large-scale events. So excited to have you here. And something else to note, that in 2019, Dara was the winner of a Silver Stevie Award in the Maverick of the Year category by the Stevie Awards for Women in Business. She has also been honored as a game changer by Ragan's Top Women in Communications Awards. Well, if I ever have a question about PR communications, now I know who to ask. Last but certainly not least, Bonnie Taylor is a marketing and communications veteran with comprehensive experience in food and beverage, hospitality, and retail sectors. She began her career running marketing and PR for high-profile nightclubs on the Vegas Strip, then moved to the agency side, working with clients like Busch di Beppo, Las Vegas Hilton, Thunder from Down Under, and Topshop, another favorite. It was there that she discovered her passion for booking talent and securing coverage in a fast-paced environment. Bonnie and her family made the move to the Boston area, where she worked in consumer PR, with the main client being Dunkin'. For 5 years, Bonnie worked on everything from store openings with local franchisees to the iconic campaigns with Big Papi and Rob Gronkowski, and a launch with JoJo Siwa. In 2020, Bonnie followed her true passion of all things celebrity and influencers and took the leap to join the Talent Resources team, where she is currently the Vice President of Strategy and Communications. Bonnie, it is so awesome to have you here.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining. And I wanted to introduce you really quickly to Melissa. So Melissa is a 7-year triple negative breast cancer survivor and the founder of Cancer Fashionista. Throughout her breast cancer journey, which included chemotherapy and surgery, Melissa struggled to look and feel her best during such a difficult chapter of her life. She began scouring the internet for beauty tips and tricks to help manage the appearance-related side effects of her experience, as well as for niche products that would be helpful for her recovery from treatment. Melissa started to keep track of the best advice and items that she found, and she then created cancerfashionista.com blog to share her recommendations with other women facing similar diagnoses. Cancer Fashionista quickly grew in popularity with its readers and followers on social media, and Melissa has become a trusted voice in the breast cancer community. She's been tapped by several media outlets, including the AP, Self, and the Huffington Post, to share both product recommendations and self-care tips for cancer patients. Melissa has been recognized for her outstanding support of women affected by breast cancer by many organizations. In 2016, she received the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation's Courage Award, and last year she was honored with the YWCA Bergen County's Beacon of Light Award. So thank you, Melissa, for doing this and moderating us, and I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for that introduction, Bonnie, and thank you all again to all of my amazing panelists for being here today to have a very real conversation. I think we are going to get pretty real today. You know, there's unfortunately a lot going on today, and we're going to talk about how we all wear so many hats as entrepreneurs and working moms, and you know how we're literally going from conference call to making dinner. We're trying to figure out what to even make for dinner, and you know, homeschooling and everything in between. This is sort of unprecedented what we're dealing with. So I want to thank all of you for you know, being here to kind of help everyone out there with all of the stuff that we're probably all going through. So just another reminder to all of our listeners out there to just make sure you click on the Q&A link below and send in questions that you have, because we will be selecting some of those to answer during the second half of our webinar. So let's get ready to dive in. I'm going to start with a question here, and I'm actually going to start with you, Rachel, if that's okay. Here's a good one. What is life like in your home right now, and how are you juggling work and family life with the current situation?
Woo! Okay, first of all, happy to be here in the midst of such powerful women. Thank you for everyone who's here. Where do I even start? So I might be the only one on the panel without children. So and my gosh, like, let me start saying that for you guys, because I can't.
Well, Rachel, they do keep us company, but you know, I know what you're saying.
I can't even imagine juggling it from that end. For me, life has changed completely just because my work has always been on the road. I always say my office is the airplane, my home is in a hotel. I'm never actually here. And so now I am here and practicing social distancing, self-quarantining, and my work has changed, and I've had to think outside of the box and get creative with how to stay active, how to stay present, and just how to stay available, you know, ready for the next job. So you mentioned, Melissa, cooking. Now that I'm in the home, I'm in the kitchen as well, and I'm cleaning and I'm taking on roles that I'm a newlywed. I'm taking on roles
congratulations.
that I haven't quite yet before. So it's been, honestly, my worst enemy is myself, and it's been a little challenging mentally to get out of my head because I'm so not used to wearing that hat of cooking and having to clean and just take care of the home. So I try to switch it and find the silver linings and things. Because I am so on the road so much, I never get to spend time with my husband and my dog, who is my child. And it's been really nice to take care of the personal side of things. So I've just been juggling, trying to work and stay busy, but then also work on the personal side of things that I can take advantage of because I never have had the opportunity to do it before.
That's wonderful. So I have to ask you this. Your husband must be happy that you're like a little homemaker now instead of being on the road.
He loves it. Because I've always told him, see, now I'm exposing myself. I've always told him, I can't cook. I don't really know how to cook. And now he's like, you actually do. You just don't.
You can totally cook.
Now. So no, he does love it. It's been really nice to spend time with one another.
Do you have a dish that you've mastered?
Not Matt. Actually, my sweet potatoes are really good. He was really impressed with them. And so maybe that's like my go-to dish now. I've never had one before. So I guess that's it now.
Awesome. Well, you're going to have to post that for us somewhere so that we can get our hands on it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, Heather, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is the life in your home? What is life like in your home right now, and how are you juggling everything?
It's really chaotic, if I'm being honest. And I think that
for me, this is all about being honest. This is not about.
I think what's getting all of us through this is, transparency and authenticity. It's crazy. I love my job. I now do it from home. Normally I split my time between Miami and Boston. And now I'm here in Boston with my family, 2 kids, and my husband in one little house. My day starts at 7:30 with daily calls 7 days a week, trying to run from my children and hide and mute as fast as I can. Once I get off of that, we start our homeschooling. I get my kindergartner set up with her. We have a whole routine. She starts with art lessons and all the things that the teachers have sent me. And sometimes a show or 2, right?
Yeah. It's like, wow, extra.
Right? Sometimes shows, which I am totally, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. They're alive. And they're so happy. The kids are so happy during this, which is funny. And then, the workday goes on. My husband and I both juggle it. I try to get in a Peloton ride if I can. I came into this like a religious soul cycler, and about 3 weeks in, had a breakdown and bought a Peloton. And
wow, how do you like that Peloton? Is it working for you?
Saved my life. It has saved my family. Yeah, it's a minute away, which is fantastic.
It saves your family, right? Because I find do you find like if you don't work out, you start to grow fangs?
I get like very angry, very, very, very mean, actually. I didn't realize it before, but I do. And so it's just a great time for me. And then what's great is that now days are also sprinkled in with like family time when we don't have meetings, right? So we're having lunch together sometimes, and we're playing in the yard together, and that's nice. And evenings, while I'm not going out to dinner and I miss that stuff so much, I have like scheduled Zooms with girlfriends that we're repeating on weekly basis.
All right, that was fun. I actually look forward to that.
And my college roommates and I, we do it weekly now. I haven't seen their faces this much in years. I mean,
know, I'm actually seeing them more than I ever.
Yeah, it's really nice. So every day is different. Sundays are a lot harder than others, right? But I think we're finding some normality in the chaos at this point.
That's great. I'm so glad. And thanks for being honest with us, because it is really challenging. And I feel like every day, like you can't even look past like the next couple of days, right? It's like, if you know what's going to be served for lunch tomorrow and you have a general idea that you can get your job done, it's like, I'm winning. Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing. So we're going to go to the next question. I'm going to start with you, Dara, on this one. What would you say your biggest challenge is? What has been the biggest challenge that you've faced over the last month?
I think it's getting it all done. And being able to sort of pull away from the computer, pull away from work, and like take a minute to do everything else. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 15, so I have a high schooler, and then I have a 9-year-old, a 3rd grade, one in between. So their lives are so different. And so it's, the sort of the rat race all day and keeping up and trying not to fall behind. And probably like most of you guys, my schedule is meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And oh my gosh, do I have a chance to pee, right? I mean, who can find a chance to run to the bathroom, let alone get a cup of coffee or a drink? And sometimes, lunch just doesn't happen. And so I think the biggest challenge for me is how do you just take a beat and like take a beat for me, right? And so even, at night, like how do you pull away from the computer and say, okay, enough, like take this mouse and throw it out the window and like keep going. And I think like, that's the hard part, is when to turn off. I am not used to working from home at all. I have always been someone who's I live in New Jersey. I've gone into Manhattan 5 days a week, for as long as I can know. And so I don't know what this working from home deal is. And I'm not really good at it in the sense that I don't know how to turn myself off. And so I think that's part of the hardest part, that, no one wants to hear from me at 8 o'clock at night. So I don't want to email anybody either. The same with stuff.
Morning. You raise a really good point. I've worked from home for many years, but for some reason, now that the kids are home all the time, I find it also, not that I'm not happy that you have these same issues, but in a way I'm like, oh, it's not just me, because shutting it off, I think and having boundaries between home and personal life, and also weeks and weekends, they can really just start to mush together. Yeah, so I think learning to pull back and almost set boundaries like we do at work. It's like you go to have coffee maybe with a coworker, or you get up to go to the bathroom. And even sometimes having meetings is sort of stepping away from your computer. So I find at home, it's too easy to be it could be very exhausting, I think, mentally.
Definitely.
So thank you for sharing your insight there. Bonnie, I have one for you. Are there any apps or digital resources that you're using that you never thought you would use before?
So like Heather said with Peloton, so I am a diehard Orange Theory goer. I think everybody who knows me knows that's my routine. And just like I needed to work out. Like I'm absolutely going insane. I went and bought a treadmill because I tried to run outside and my street is all hills. So I have a treadmill, I have a Peloton app, I have iFit, I'm rotating through every morning. Let's see, there's also, so I have gone down TikTok rabbit holes more than I have ever even imagined. Like I think my friends and I, we talk about it all the time, like we're obsessed and we're sending them back and forth to each other. And so I would say
something though, because I don't want to interrupt you. I started playing around with them too. They take a long time to do right.
Oh, I haven't posted one. So my kids have posted one. Yeah, I'm not that brave yet. It could come. But yeah, so now I'm like stalking everything on TikTok and trying to learn everything we can because it's so funny. And Rachel probably speaks to it. Like all these people are jumping on TikTok that you never thought you would ever see on there, and you're seeing their families. And so I think those are kind of like the biggest things that I've been using. I'm lucky I married a chef, so I have to do the growth. Yeah. It's amazing. So I have to I do the grocery shopping, but I'm ordering everything completely online through apps. He'll go pick it up and he's cooking. So I don't have to do any of those kind of crazy apps, but yeah, it's just different though. Cause you get in your routine, and for the last, 2.5 years, I've been going to an Orange Theory studio 5 to 6 days a week. And that was my normal. And now it's like, okay, wait a minute. I need to kind of get my endorphins going. I need to work out. How am I going to get that? So
yeah, that's a huge adjustment. I think for a lot of people, I also loved Orange Theory, and going for a walk just doesn't give you the same.
I need someone yelling at me, right? Like yelling at me all the time.
Rachel, do you have any apps that you're using now that you weren't using before?
Well, I'm in good company. Apparently with Peloton, I'm one of those people who broke down and was like, I gotta do something. And I have mine on the balcony, so I just sit outside and
nice.
And I'm by the water so I can see it. It's just a really great atmosphere. I love the Peloton. We all have to exchange usernames after this.
Well, now I have to get one because I feel so
Me too.
Just get the app and the
app is great.
free trial. I'm telling you, it's magical.
Because they're PR, let's call them.
Yeah.
We make brand ambassadors.
So, house party. I
love house party. My girlfriends and I are playing that drawing game twice a week.
Yes, it's the best way to connect. I have one with my sorority sisters. I have one with actually the former bachelorettes. We all get together and we talk.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, and it's really been, I never used it before. I'd heard of it, and there's so much more to do with it. Like you said, with drawing and games.
Oh, I've never tried it. Now I'm going to add that to my repertoire.
House party.
We should do a house party. I mean, I don't even know what it is, but it sounds like fun.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so great. So, okay, note to self. So far we have house party and Peloton as must-have apps to get us through this. So Rachel, I have another one for you. Has anything surprised you about this new way of life, or have you learned something new about yourself? I know we talked about cooking a little bit.
Yeah, apparently I can cook, but I guess about myself, I learned that I'm stronger than I think, and I can get through this. If you had told me that, last year, oh, you're going to be quarantined, I would say, oh no, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to lose it. But here we are figuring it out and surviving it because we're all going through this at the same time. But what has surprised me the most, I have to say, is humanity. But it's twofold. On one end, I live in Florida, not going to get political here, but I'm shocked at the blatant disregard people have for human life and not realizing that their actions are a trickle-down effect and they're affecting other people. But then on the opposite end, I'm so impressed with humanity at how people are supporting our first responders. I don't know about you guys, but at 8 o'clock every night, people are banging their pots and pans here in our neighborhood, cheering on first responders. I'm impressed seeing people putting together campaigns and gathering products and delivering things to hospitals, boys and girls clubs. I'm just really impressed at how we have come together to fight this thing that is affecting us all in one way or another.
That's a beautiful discovery, and I think it's actually nice to focus sometimes on that, because I think it's so disheartening and scary, for lack of a better word, to watch the news. We all need to do it, but I think to sort of look at the silver lining at the good that people are doing, and just especially those on the front line that are, you know, putting their lives and the lives of their family, you know, in front of everything else. And it's just amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us. Are you having a hard time not being on the road? Has that been a hard adjustment for you?
Well, I thought I would, and I bet you guys can relate a little bit to this. I realized how stressed out I was because I'm actually content with not traveling. I thought, oh no, that's just how I am. I like to go, 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 go. And I'm an Enneagram 8 for anyone who does their Enneagram numbers. So it's all about control. And so I like go crazy if I can't control the situation. I have been so content with getting things done at home. Now, I'm not trying to do this forever, but in the moment, yes.
Right.
Melissa, how about you though? I'm curious. How are you feeling about this one? What are you learning about yourself?
What have I learned about myself? What I learned is that I needed to slow the F down.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how fast I was moving. My house was like so disorganized. I had swag bags I never even opened. Unopened mail that I was like, it looks like a crazy woman was living here. Like it was a real awakening for me. And I think after this, I'm really going to try and remember that, to really just take the time to just be more in the present moment and not have to feel like I have to run from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, to just slow down a little bit.
I think, and Dara, you could say this too. I look at my calendar now and it's so weird how it's like eerily empty, when it used to be like I'd have sports and birthday parties and this, and it was like constantly juggling, how am I going to get from here to here? You know, our main office is in New York, so I live up in Boston and I'm heading down there. So I'd be like, okay, I'm gone this week, got to have coverage here. My husband's going to watch the kids here. This is how we're going to do it. And I look at my calendar this month and I was like, okay, this is weird. There's nothing on it. There's like maybe the hope, maybe Little League is going to start, or probably not anymore. But that's probably been like the shocking thing for me, going, okay, I know I have my work calendar, but what am I going to do to keep my family going?
It is weird. The calendar thing is, I noticed that, like, or you'll get like a pop-up, like a reminder that you're supposed to be going somewhere for dinner, and you're like, wow, it's crazy. What about you, Heather? Do you like, do you feel like, what have you really learned about yourself through this whole thing?
I've learned a ton. So I've done this weird thing. I started it on my Instagram 41 days ago. Today we started locking, and where I just ask my followers every day a question. I've been asking what stresses you out and what's helping today. But the other day I asked what surprised you the most about this time. And then I like anonymously share the answers. And I loved the answers that came in because they were all positive. And they were all, you know, I like being home with my kids more than I thought. I like my husband more than I thought. I'm okay with a lot less than I thought. And I think that I feel a lot of those. I mean, as Bonnie just said, you know, I have a lot of pressure. I have a lot of mom guilt and working mom guilt, especially, to get my kids to every activity and to make sure that I feel like I'm filling their cups as much as mine. And with them all gone, I don't know about you guys, but my kids seem so much happier. Like, just with us in the house without being
more relaxed, because you're not like, we got to go here, we got to go there, and you got to get dressed, you know, all that stuff.
They're not going to the pool. And they just seem like happy kids. That I realize I'm not getting all the things that I get, you know, my hair, my nails, my things, all the things, my 97 went the wrong way.
Girl, I miss it. I know. We take a minute. I know we miss.
But I'm okay. Like, I'm okay this week. My hair won't be next week. The headband's you know, but like, I'm okay. And my family is content and calmer and okay with a lot less. Like, we didn't need it all. And I think that coming out of this, I will absolutely go back to getting my hair done. But I think I'm going to try to ease back in and take a minute and realize it's not all necessary, right? Like,
I couldn't agree more. Like I look at like my bills and how much we were going out to eat and the Ubers and running. Not necessary. Not necessary. We're actually having more fun cooking at home and like planning meals. And I even sometimes put little menus on the refrigerator. Doesn't happen every day. But when I'm in the Betty Crocker mood, it happens.
I tell people that The Bachelor kind of prepares you for this because you are stripped from everything when you're quarantined in that mansion. No technology, no TV, no music, no family, no outside friends. And so you learn to adapt. And it's Heather, what you said made me think of this because when you get your phone back and the world is, in your hand, you get scared and you're like, okay, I'm just going to ease into it. And I can honestly say I have never been the same since it, because I've done it twice now, Bachelor and Bachelorette. I've never been the same on my phone. Just the need for TV or technology the same way since I've done that. So I think people really will, or at least I hope that they'll adopt that as well.
That's a really interesting analogy. Because when you kind of are stripped of all these things and then you can get them all back, you may not even want them all back, really. Yeah. Thank you for that. Good one. Dara, what do you think? What have you learned about yourself throughout all of this?
I realized that I also miss the old school stuff, going for walks, bike rides, doing things like puzzles. Like, my kids and I and my husband, we played Rummy Cube. I mean, listen, I can't think of the last time on a school night that we like played old-fashioned games. We played cards. It's sort of all the other stuff, you put it aside. We're watching a series as a family, all 5 of us. Like, maybe it's not for everybody perfect. It's not perfect for everybody, but it's working for us, right? And so we're connecting on so many new levels, which is so nice. And so I think, like, from a family perspective, for me, I'm learning, like, it's nice to just be real again. And from a professional perspective, I miss seeing people's faces. I think, like, we used to text all the time, and I've never been a real fan of texting. I'm always sort of like, you text me, I pick up the phone and call you back. Maybe it annoys people, but I'd rather hear a voice. Call me old-fashioned. But now I like, I Slack people via Slack video. And so I'm like, good morning,
I need the human connection more than ever before.
I don't give a shit if you're in your pajamas. I don't care if you're wearing your smelly workout clothes.
No one cares anymore. It's so funny. I did a Zoom, like I said, I've worked from home for years, and it used to be like the secret, like, tell my kids, everyone be quiet. And everything's gotta be nice. I went on a Zoom call, this woman, I swear to God bless her, she had like 5 sippy cups. She's like, what do you guys want to talk about? I was like, doesn't matter. Right now, it's just like, get it done. So thank you. And the old school stuff is really nice. Like, just last night, my daughters and I was like, do you guys want to like do each other's nails? We had so much fun because we were always just running to the nail salon and spending all that extra money. And they were like, Mom, this is so much fun. Let's do it every, Tuesday night. I'm like, done, So I wonder if these things will carry over once we're out of it. It remains to be seen, but it's nice to think that we'll keep some of these.
Some of it has to stay.
Some of it.
I will say, I cut my son's hair for the first time last night after watching and studying YouTube videos.
Oh my God, there you go.
So I posted, it came out really well, but I was so nervous. I'm like, so that's one thing, like, yes, I did a good job. It's over. They don't look homeless, but yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm ready for somebody else to take that pressure off of me. Like, clippers, 2 boys, like, oh God. It was nerve-wracking.
Mine won't let me come near them. I'm trying. I chase them around the house with scissors, almost.
My daughter's a senior in high school. Some of her guy friends are just shaving their heads. They're just like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. The other day. Yeah, and I'm still here, so obviously it's a different job.
I know, right?
Exactly.
So, Heather, I'm going to bounce back to you for a minute. Is there something that you think you'll miss when our lives go back to normal? It sounds like you're really enjoying time with your kids, but is there anything else that you think you might miss once we go back to whatever that normal is?
Yeah, I think if my friends and I stop the Zooms, I'll miss those. I also mentioned, I feel like I'm connecting a lot with my social media network, and I think I'll miss that. And I will miss the time with the kids because, like I said, I'm on the go. I spend a lot of the time in Miami and I'm back and forth, lots of time on planes, which I've never minded before at all. But I feel like I'm going to miss not being so on the go.
Right. Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Dara, what about you? What do you think you might miss when we go back?
You know, I tend to work late hours. I don't always get to eat meals with my kids, and with my family. So, you know, just having that family dinner, you know, the weekends with sports and everything else, we're all running in a bunch of different directions. And, you know, just being able to actually have dinner most nights as a family, is nice. Having that connection with my kids is awesome. I don't always get it. You know, I get home and I eat as I'm like looking at something or signing forms and, you know, and so being able to stop for a minute and like sit down and have a proper meal. I might go back to my computer after, and the dinner might be awful, but we do it.
Right. No, I think I agree with that 100%, 100%. What about you, Bonnie? What do you think you might miss when we go back?
I think it's the ease in the morning, right? So usually we have to have this by a certain time, like that's so strict, like bus is coming, you better not miss that bus, teeth better be brushed, like do you match, are you clothes on, are you out the door, is lunch made? I kind of like the fact that it's like we wake up, we have our kind of new routines, you know, my oldest goes to his Zoom class at 11:15, his teacher's on every day, and so we're adjusting, but it's no screaming in the morning. It's like the kids wake up when they want to, they're happy, they're smiling. It's not that, what are we going to do? Where are we going? Where do we have to be? Get the day started. So I'm definitely going to miss that as much as I do love them being in school full day. You know, I have 2 boys. They have a lot of energy, and the weather here in Massachusetts has not been wonderful with us. Like we had 60-degree weather one day and snow the next. So they need to be running around, and having that and keeping them cooped up is not the greatest, but it's a sense of calm in the house right now that we've never had this.
I get it. Yeah, I know. I was thinking the other day, I don't miss the running and in the morning because my daughter's like one has to be at one school at like 7:30, the other one at 8:10. So it was this like constantly chasing my tail. So by the time I got to my desk, I was exhausted. So I don't miss that either. But I totally hear you. Rachel, what do you think you might miss when we go back?
I think for me, I'll just miss the opportunity to be still and be present and to reflect. You know, so much like the world has stopped in a lot of ways, especially in the industry that I'm in, and so much has been canceled. So I have the time to actually, I'm a person who's always thinking ahead and what's next, and I'm never just here. And it's been really nice to wake up and just to think about life and where I want to go, and just being present in this current situation. I'm never that. And I hope that when everything gets back started again, that I take the time to do that. But I don't know.
I think that's going to be the challenge, right? To take the lessons that we learned, those silver linings, and the things that we discovered that we didn't even know, that those things that made us happy, to how do we keep those activities and those feelings with us when we go back? That's going to be the challenge, right? It'll be interesting to see. Thank you for sharing that. So here's a good one, you guys. What's the one piece of advice you would give to a fellow Superwoman who is struggling right now? So all of our sisters that are out there, let's see, who would like to start with this one?
I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
I will say, I think most importantly, like it's okay, and we're all struggling. Even if we are sitting up here with makeup on, you know, with our hair done, we are all struggling. Every day is different. It's a one day at a time thing. And I would just say, be okay that some days you're not okay, right? And be honest with yourself about it. Be honest if you are with someone, with your partner about it, with your friends, whoever it needs to be. And I think one of the dangers of us being so isolated is we're not having our checkpoints, right? Like if you're not okay, there are still ways to reach out, right? There's telehealth. I heard a Better Health ad today, and I was like, oh yeah, guys, good idea, because people probably really need that right now.
Absolutely.
You know? Like even if you can't get a Peloton, there's so many free workout apps, and I'm not saying work out to lose weight or get in shape, because that's ridiculous right now. I'm saying it for like mental health, but just it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to be open about that and honest about that, and you can find ways to help yourself in your own home. And I just think we should talk about that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because there are days I've had it myself that I'm like, this stinks. And then some days I'm like, I had a good day because, I made every meal and no one complained and I got my work done. It's like the basic, like that's a great day. Day that nobody likes what you made for dinner and your clients are like, what the heck is going on? Are you a noodlehead? That's not a good day.
Yeah.
So Rachel, why don't you give that one a try? What advice would you give to our fellow Superwomen?
I would say try to find the silver lining in things. I would never describe myself as a positive person, right? I'm a realist. And I'm really talking to myself here because it's something that I struggle with. But I think as women, especially the ones on this panel and the ones who are participating and just being a woman, I think that we like to plan things and have things under control. And as we see in this current situation, things are not going according to plan. This is not where I was supposed to be or what I was doing on April 22nd, And so I think that if you try to realize that you can't control everything, you can't change certain things, like we can't change the circumstance we're in, but then try to find that silver lining and the positivity in your current situation, I think that it will allow you to do great things rather than staying in a place of negativity.
Good advice. I hope that helped someone. That helped me. That was really good. Thank you. Dara, what about you? What piece of advice would you share with someone that is struggling right now?
I think that we spend so much time looking for role models, right? Role models for our kids, role models for our friends, role models for our colleagues. Like, I think this is an opportunity for us to be role models for our families, right? To show our kids and our families, like, just how much of a leader we are as women, and everything from, looking at, sorry, there's like noise over there. Because I'm home. But when you look at,
oh no.
I know, right? But the idea that like you have this opportunity to show your family that you're actually a role model as being the woman and really, working and feeding and having a shoulder, for your kids to cry on, or your husband or a significant other to get frustrated with. Like, you can really be that role model for your family. It's okay. You don't have to always look for somebody else to do it. You're home and you really have the opportunity to let people see that you really are doing it all. And we all hit bumps in the road, and not every day is perfect. We always have the saying in my house, not every dinner's a winner. And so
ooh, thank you.
Like,
I'm going to use that. And I say that a very important person came up with that, and they need to listen.
See, and it's very true. And listen, like, they hate it, guys, not every dinner is a winner. But the idea that like we're trying and we're going to do our best, and I think that we can be just as much a role model to our families, to our friends, as much as we look for that celebrity or that other person to fill that role.
I love that. That's a great piece of advice. It is so true. And I think in a way, this is a great opportunity, especially for someone like you that doesn't normally work from home, for your children to see what you do and how hard you work.
Right.
Respect you, and that they'll know then that every dinner is a winner.
maybe a little. I'll even take like a tiny bit. It's totally fine. Or one of my 3 kids.
Exactly. Bonnie, do you have any advice that you'd like to share with someone who's really having a hard time right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is ask for help, right? We are all in the exact same situation. Those close to me know I was at a wedding in Las Vegas on March 13th. My mom flew here from New Jersey on March 10th, thinking it was going to be a 4 or 5 day trip, and she was going right back to New Jersey from Boston. She's been quarantined with us, and I'm not letting her go back. And so, it's okay to ask for help. Like, she's here, she's not with her house. I'm calling my brother, can you go check on things? Even our team members, it's like, listen, do you need help with something? Are you taking on too much on your plate? Because you also feel like you're working from home. Hey, I can get all of this done. And I'm like, listen, my kids are screaming, the dog's barking, they're interrupting calls. But it's okay, like, because we're all doing it. We all need help with something right now. We can't all be these super, it's a great persona to have, but at the end of the day, we all need each other. And so it's okay to not take everything on and to delegate and have people help you. So that's my biggest thing.
Absolutely. And that segues, if I had to give one piece of advice, it's to ask make sure you're asking your children to step up. Yes. And, I think I'm probably guilty of because, you know, I have my daughters, especially my oldest daughter is a senior in high school. So, you know, with college applications, it's been a hectic few months. So I would help her with her laundry, and I would, you know, maybe not ask her to unload the dishwasher. But now I'm like, now we have a little routine. As soon as we get up from the table, I don't even have to ask. So I think asking your children to pitch in is important, especially now, because we shouldn't have to feel like we have to take everything on, especially if you have a serious job and you know, and there's laundry that needs to be folded, they can do it.
And your spouse and your roommate, to whatever your situation is.
Mhm.
Right? I know Rachel's like, yes.
Exactly. All great advice, everyone. Really. And you're all amazing and so inspiring. And I almost wish that we could just like do this every morning so I'd feel really motivated to get it all done. So I think at this time, we're going to see what questions we have from our audience, because I think we have some good questions, don't we, Bonnie?
We do.
What do we got?
All right. So the first one we see is, what do you envision the future of marketing PR influencer to look like once we return to normal or our new normal?
Ooh,
Let's open it to everybody.
Heather, you want to give that one a shot?
I think that, you know, what's interesting is that I think we're going to come back to a world that's a little bit less glossy, right? I think lifestyle will be a little bit less perfect, a little bit more authentic, and a little more honest, which I'm here for. I'm so excited about that. But, you know, I think if I had to suspect, there will always be an audience for those images. I've always been an audience for those images, but I think that we're going to see it morphing a little bit more to the real aspect, because what's really unique about this whole period of time is that, as Bonnie said, we're all doing this. That's so rare. The entire world is in this together, so we can't deny that anymore, right? So I think it'll just move towards authenticity, which I'm really excited about.
Me too.
I love that, and I think I never even thought about it like that, but I think it's true. You agree?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I hope that that's the way things go too. And I think the reason that will be too is because we will hopefully value things in a completely different way than we did prior to all of this. Mm-hmm. And I think you just learn to put things into perspective. And I think that that's how marketing will be when it comes to, you know, or PR and influencers. And so I'm my fingers crossed that that's the way things go.
We can fight the fight together.
Dara, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that it's all, our lifestyles are changing, and they'll continue to change, and they'll continue to evolve. And so I think that marketing is going to have to follow that. And I think that it's going to really change some of the messaging. I think from a hard point, I think it's going to be survival of the fittest, in the sense that I think a lot of glossy magazines, to your point, Heather, are fighting for survival. So they were fighting for survival before this, and so they're going to fight not such a great fight after this. I think that the world of TV has changed. You know, TV is now really, a lot of it, you know, you're watching even a previously recorded morning show, and then all of a sudden the governor pops up, right? And so there, you know, TV has really changed, and it's not really as much of a lifestyle medium as it once was. And I think we're all gonna start to get our information even more than were yesterday from social media, just because that's the way we have sort of started to go even more than ever.
I think it's just seeing how, and I know Rachel, Melissa, you could probably answer this even better, but just seeing how real our influencers are being when they're given a task, right? You have to shoot your own content. You don't have a hair and makeup team. You don't have, you know, wardrobe consultant. It's like, you better work with the brands that you're feeling passionate about and that you actually want to do the work with. But the content putting out, it's on you more than it's ever been. You know, a lot of it's, you can't get that photographer to come to your house unless you're shooting from 6 feet away. So I think that just seeing how social media and people going live in their reel, I know, you know, we had a conversation about Camille before, and I think like Camille posting her workouts, like she's like, hey, I'm here, I'm going live right now. We're going to end this together. I think that's the content that everybody is thriving. Like, we want it. And even as a mom, like, I want to see how other moms are doing. That's why I love that we're talking, because it's going to be a little more real. It's not going to be the sugar coated happy life, and we all have to adjust.
Great. I think that's a great perspective, and it's true. You know, I think celebrities also, they're popping on live, and the access to chatting with them is you know, really kind of interesting. And I don't know, every time, for some reason, every time on Instagram, I think Justin Bieber is constantly doing it, and he's just not even doing much. He's just kind of like, hey guys, but all of a sudden he's got like millions of people watching, so it's really interesting what's happening.
That with Matthew McConaughey, I saw a meme. And I'm sure you guys all saw this with Matthew McConaughey on a Zoom, and he just like rolled up to this Zoom, and it said, "If this is what Matthew McConaughey looks like on a Zoom, imagine what you do." And it was just, it was just a great equalizer. Like I said, we're all in this together, and I love that. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to the next question, because I think this is one I'd love to hear everybody's kind of take on. How do you manage personal anxiety when work expects so much from you? As women, we don't want to feel like we can't handle things or admit weakness to our boss, but it's hard to do your job well when there's a global crisis going on.
We're all just nodding because we're like,
We would like to know the answer to that.
I think we all kind of agree their exercise plays a huge part. Like we've all kind of said that too, that our sanity, like us all being able to exercise, is a huge part, and not losing sight of that when you can't go to your favorite gym or your favorite workout class, whatever that might be. And so you have to release those endorphins or create endorphins. I never know which way it goes, but you need to be able to work out, and you need to really be able to burn that sort of angst. And so, you know, whether you do it at night, whether you do it in the middle of the day like Heather, and maybe it's not middle, but you know, at an awkward time, I think that that's a big part of it. And then finding time to like just turn it all off and like be present with your family or with your significant other, take your dog for a walk, go for a walk yourself, but just stop, get out of it, you know, and get into sort of something else, so that way you can just recharge a little bit.
I'm a really big fan of, when you like getting really tactical, of putting if work is so demanding that you know, it's just going to keep coming, you know what is urgent and what can wait 1 hour, because that's the time frame we're looking at these days, especially in what we all do. I'm a big fan of putting a meeting on my calendar and blocking time to do things that I need to do, whether that be take a shower with no noise, right? Or just walk around, or call someone, or eat lunch. Like if it's that much of a day and you are at a breaking point, I think that we all need to learn to set boundaries, because there are none in this world. So you have to put them up for yourself. And you need to, what I would also say, especially to people who are earlier in their career, would be really honest about what you can and can't do. No one can do everything. No one can do everything. No one, none of us. I think you need to be honest with your leaders and your teams and be like, here's what I have today. These 3 things are all urgent. What can I push? What can come next? Because, you know, I think that you need to really manage up, especially for people who are more junior in their career and are afraid to do that. Everyone's human. And if you set that precedent, people will respect it, and usually. And I think that they'll go to you knowing that might happen. And I respect it. As a team leader, I respect it, and I always honor it. So I would say set time, set boundaries, and put meetings for essential things on your calendar.
I love that. That's a great takeaway, to time block for yourself. You know, like there's the meeting, the to-do list, but in this world, you're right. If you don't make the time to take care of yourself, bathing, basic things, eating, and then working out, meditation, taking a break to just see how your kids are doing, going for a little walk. Those things are essential to our well-being right now, because this is a world we've never lived in before.
Yeah. I'm a person who, before I go to bed at night, I still I'm old school, and I write in a planner. I use my phone too for meetings, but I write in a planner, and I plan out my day and try to prioritize things that I want to do and cross off the list. So then when I wake up in the morning, I have a certain intention and a purpose of what it is that I'm going to do. And sometimes in that schedule, it does say, work out, take a shower, cook breakfast, because you forget to do certain, especially right now, you forget to do certain things. I also will set reminders on my phone that will literally say, take a breath. Just breathe for a minute. And that has really, really helped me. And then just piggybacking on what you said, Heather, too. I'm a person, and I know a lot of people out there probably like this too. I will say yes to so many things when it comes to my boss, because I'm afraid if I say no, then that gives somebody else the opportunity to step in. But hearing what you said, Heather, about respecting the person who can say, you know what, I want to be able to do this, but I actually can't do this right now, or I can't do it this way, or just being very honest about it. I think that will relieve a lot of anxiety if you realize that you don't have to say yes to every single thing.
Exactly. And boundaries, not saying yes, and taking time for yourself. I think those are so important. So important. Thank you. Great insight, you guys, really. Bonnie, do we have any other questions that we want to take?
We do. Let's go to this one. This is from Nicole Wright, and she says, as media and branding and advertising experts, what is your opinion on marketing certain brands or types of products? In this environment, we have to be sensitive to what we are putting out there and after. How much is too much? Necessities and have-to-haves versus nice-to-haves. She reps a wine brand, so specifically this category, wine and spirits.
I think that's a have-to-have right now, I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's in the right industry, first of all.
Yeah, I think I would say for me, it's figuring out, right, who's your audience and how are they engaging to what you actually are putting out there. On other webinars, we've talked about how to battle, negative comments, or if your brand does something and you're not fully behind it 100%, how to either scale back. So I think for me, yes, wine, spirits, I am all about it. Everybody who knows me, there's a Patron in this house every night, because there has to be. I need my sanity. The kids go to bed and it's mommy time. But I think it also gets to that balance, right? What are people craving? It's just like, what is the new? We want to turn off the news at some point, and we want to see something that makes us happy. And if wine and spirits are part of your life and your go-to, and they're comfort and they make you happy, then people really want to see that right now. Like that's how I do it. But I love all the other experts.
Did anyone else want to weigh in on that question?
I agree with Bonnie's insight. I think that you have to be sensitive and read your audience. Know your audience, read them, listen to them when they tell you something, especially if they're giving you an indication that something is amiss, something's probably amiss. But especially for wine and spirits right now, I think it's totally appropriate to market. I actually just signed up for a wine subscription for the first time in my life. So I think.
We have an awesome comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, Teresa Leary just wrote, wine sales have gone up 150% here in Ireland. So,
wow.
Not
so Nicole, go for it.
Yeah.
Market research for you right there. We're one stop shop.
Let's do one other question, which I think we all kind of talked about a little bit, but we can summarize. What do you each use to best organize or prioritize your work during the day in quarantine?
Well, for me, I already mentioned it, it's having a planner. I just know my thought process is so much better when I'm actually writing things down, rather than reading it on the screen or typing. So for me, I plan out my day at night, and then I move, and of course things don't always go as planned, and I substitute and move things around as the day goes on. But I think seeing it, visualizing exactly what it is that I'm going to do really helps me get things done.
Anyone else?
I got these little notebooks. I don't know, these little things to do pads. You probably can't see it, and I've got a screen. But I have like a top 10 list that every single day. What are the things I have to accomplish today? And usually that list, it's like an endless going. I may not even get to it, but these are the 10 things that I want to try and achieve every day. So
I love that. I think that this is something that I struggle with, to be honest, letting my day kind of take me over. So I'm going to try that night before thing. I think that's a really good idea.
It is a good idea. And I find that email can end up driving your day. You could have the perfect plan, then all of a sudden you get that one email like, we've decided we're doing this proposal, it's due tomorrow, and you're like, oh, okay, bye list, here's the new day. So yeah, that happens.
Dara, we got go ahead.
I do grids, and then one of the things I also do is I do future files, which is something I've done for years. And so what I do is, like, if I don't think I need to look at this today, but I can look at it next Tuesday because the meeting's on Thursday, and I future file things. And so I actually, it's like something I've been doing for years, but it's a way that I keep myself really organized, and I just future file things that I don't need to think about this minute, and future file them to the date that I do need to think about them.
Yeah. Dara, as a follow-up to you, we have a question. Any advice on smaller companies who are offering free COVID resources to expand their reach and to be able to help more people?
That's a very broad question.
I know.
I think that, I think there's a lot of opportunity for brands and companies to make noise when, in an environment where there's maybe that they can't sell something, they can't do something, but they want to do good for the community and they want to be part of sort of the betterment of those who are working on the front lines. There's certainly, stories to tell, less national than ever, but definitely regional, unless it's a big brand. Big brands still have a microphone and definitely are still getting notoriety. But a lot of companies are doing great things with regard to, changing over their manufacturing to be able to make masks and protective gear or, donating money, things, resources. And so there's certainly, in my opinion, a PR play for small companies still. And at the end of the day, people want to, we did a survey a few months ago looking at, spending habits and what people like to spend on. And one of the things we found is that people like to spend on brands that do good, that they feel that they mean something and they have a value and they value things and they do good. And so, maybe you won't see today, people rushing to your website because you're doing these great things, but maybe on the other side of this, if it's between two brands, they want to, support the brand that has really done some great outward research or work during this difficult time. And so, certainly, I believe in sort of the pay it forward sort of model.
Good insight. I like that. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I think that you definitely helped answer that question. So, I think, first of all, you guys are all amazing. I want to thank you all again for joining us today. Before we go, I want to ask everyone to define what you think a superwoman is in this climate. So Rachel, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, great. I guess I would say the term superwoman maybe is a bit of a myth, kind of like the work-life balance doesn't really exist. And I think that maybe what's important is that everyone develop what I think is a superwoman may be different for someone else. So I think first realizing that, a superwoman is someone who realizes she can't do it all, but works hard to the best of her ability. And yeah, you got me stumped when you started with me.
I'm sorry, you're the celebrity Hollywood.
No, gosh. No. But I think first, I really do think the first step is realizing that there's no such thing as a superwoman, but I think realizing that you work hard, you do the best at it is what you can do, and that is a superwoman. Whether it's for you, it's being a housewife and you do that to the best of your ability. If you're a top executive and you're doing the same thing, I think that we all are superwomen in our own right.
Absolutely. Amen. I love that. Who's my next victim? Heather.
I think similarly, I also think I think we're all superwomen, but I think that a superwoman is someone who is open and honest about the good and the bad, and also someone who builds other women up, right? Instead of cutting them down and judging lives and choices that are different than your own. I think we just need to build and rise up and not, push each other further down. Other people do that enough for us. So I think, a superwoman is someone who builds us up, builds up other women.
And we're support each other.
I have 2 girls, and I always say I'm raising a little girl army.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do.
Dara, what about you? How would you define superwoman?
You know what? I think superwoman is sort of a funny term because, I think every woman is a superwoman, right? I think that in general, like being a woman is not always the easiest thing in the world, but, we are, we do our best every day and we try to, do the best we can everywhere we can. And, I think superwoman maybe is a little superficial, but I think we like it in knowing that we are only doing our best. And I agree very much with Heather in the sense that we have to lift women up. We can't push each other down, be supportive. I think that we as women, just need to be super to each other, and be super at everything that we try to do and just do our best. And, we're not always going to win, and we're going to fake it till we make it. And at the end of the day, we just can do our best.
Thank you for that. Bonnie, what do you think?
I think a superwoman is a woman who surrounds herself with people who make her better. So I love that my tribe, I can go to them as resources. A friend who's a nurse who's probably listening right now, who I will call at any time of the day saying, what do I do? A superwoman is someone who's smart to know and recognize the value of the people that are in their family, in their friends, in their personal relationships, their working relationships, and utilize them and really rely on them and realize that they're not alone. So that's kind of how I see it.
It takes a village of superwomen, by the way.
It
really does.
It truly does.
A girl gang.
It really does. I think, a superwoman is someone that is the best version of herself. I think that especially with social media, you feel like you need to be, do the perfect workout, and then you're going to make the perfect meal and be the perfect mom and then the perfect employee. But you never hit all those notes every day. And I think part of being a superwoman is accepting that you're not going to hit every note every day. And that's okay.
I agree.
So again, you guys have all been so amazing. We could do this all day. There's so many questions and so many, because this is all so new, but, and thank you, Bonnie, for inviting us all and to Talent Resources for creating this platform for us to have this conversation that I'm sure so many women are sort of hungry for the conversation and to lean in and to listen to what we've had to say. So I hope we've helped someone out there. And I also just want to make a little note to follow Talent Resources on LinkedIn and Instagram. And they've got other webinars coming up soon. So you sort of keep your eyes peeled for other webinars like this, and also subscribe to their newsletter, which is called The Source. And it's for all things influencer and celebrity marketing. So that is it. Thank you again for everyone for joining us today, and to Talent Resources.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope we can have coffee soon.
Definitely.
On the other
And
side.
wine.
In person. Right.
That's right. That's Facebook.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Melissa.
Thank you.